Blog Talk Radio.
You are now listening to the Evolution Hour with hosts Rob Gauthier and George Spirakis.
Hello?
Yeah, there we go, brother. Hold on one second. Buddy, this is the Rob and George Enlightenment Evolution Hour. This is Rob.
And this is George.
We're sorry we had a little technical difficulties coming in. We're still dealing with the co-host sign-in issue, but we've got it figured out for this evening. So let us have fun and excitement and enjoy the evening as it is. I want to, first of all, before anything, thank all of you guys, all the callers who have been calling in for the last couple of weeks. It has been so amazing to have everyone here, everyone calling in, communicating with us, exchanging ideas and information. It's been such a wonderful, wonderful experience. And me and George are both so happy to continue this on. As you guys know, we are here for you guys to call in, talk about whatever you want, whenever you want, every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. The call-in number is area code 347-308-8788, or if you have an account made at Blog Talk Radio, you can always sign in to the page that you're watching and use the little blue Skype button to call us in directly from Skype. Either way, it's greatly appreciated, and we're so, so excited to have you guys on and to have you talk about whatever flicks your switch, whatever helps you resonate, whatever helps you go through your life day to day and excitement. That's what we're here for. What did you want to talk about this week, brother? Do you got any good ideas?
Well, Jesus, the sky's the limit. You know, we could talk about anything. I was hoping that we could have a couple callers call in and give us a subject matter that they like to cover, and then we'll just hit it. We'll go after it and try to help as much as we can.
Absolutely, brother. Right now, we're not having any specific callers in. I know that a lot of people were very interested. We were doing talks of chakra information a couple weeks ago. I didn't know if that was something that you thought might be well to start off the day to try to finish that whole conversation up, brother.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Well, let me get into my mode here. I forget. Do you remember exactly where it was that we left off in that whole conversation?
I think we left off at the solar plexus moving into the heart.
Oh, okay. Absolutely. That's a very, very good place to be. All right. Let's start there then. The solar plexus, as we know, a lot of that deals with our going back and forward in time. It has a lot to deal with self-esteem, in some ways creativity. It's the areas of our personality, our ego, intellect. It gives us awareness, stimulation of interest, curiosities, not so much the stimulation as the first chakra would, but more so to other areas. And before we could get this one going, we've got a caller at the 903 area code.
Great.
And we're going to take that call. 903 area code. Can you let us know who's with us today?
Yeah, this is Taylor.
Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
Yeah, I talked to you. I had a session with you a week ago. It was great.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was a great session, wasn't it?
Yeah, I loved it.
What is it you want to talk about the session? Because I know you had given me a couple pieces of information earlier in the day, and I knew that you said you had some exciting things you wanted to share with me, and I'd love for you to share it with all who are listening.
Yeah, I had a couple things to share. One of the questions I had asked Treb was, what is the likelihood of me seeing a UFO? And he told me, he said, the likelihood is only as much as you wish to experience it. And as soon as I went outside, and about 10 seconds later, I saw a light, or it was a star, what I thought was a star, just start to wiggle and it looked like it was wiggling up and down really, really fast, but you can't really tell a big difference in it. It was going left or it was going north, and it just faded out of the sky. It was the brightest star, and it faded out.
Oh,
beautiful.
wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was one of them. I saw 2 more. After that one, I went and told my grandma, and she couldn't believe me. She didn't believe me at all. So I went. I tried to get her to come outside to look, and she didn't even want to. I don't know if she was scared or what. So I went back out, and I looked at the same spot, and I saw another light. And this one was going the opposite direction, and it faded out again. And so I had to go back in and tell my grandma, hey, I saw another one. Are you sure you're going to come out here and look? And she did not want to go out. I had the hardest time. But anyways, I went back out. And this time I saw one in the same area again, going the same direction as the second one. And this time it was more of a blue color, and it seemed like it pulsed or something like that. It got really bright, super bright. And I've never seen anything like it before. And it faded out after it got super bright and disappeared. I didn't see it again after that. I didn't see anything else after that. I just thought it was amazing that I could see something just thinking about having that intention to see it. It was just amazing.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I love the idea of being able to set yourself vibrationally, mentally, and also setting your intention to be able to have such a wonderful experience. Most people will always see maybe 1 or 2 things in their entire life that is kind of odd in the sky, the average day-to-day person. But to be able to go and have those many experiences in such a short time, that is truly amazing. It's because you're intense there, vibrationally they're picking up on you. And the same happened with George, too. Ever since him and Treb had that chat about how to get these, either orbs or spacecraft, however people want to look at it, to come into his reality, it's all about that mindset and intention. Were you feeling physically, emotionally better than you had before that, or was it just simple intent setting? I know a lot of people say that they begin to perceive them and see them more so when they're excited or when they're happy or when they're above their average state. Was that the same for you, or was it just about intention?
Well, I was in a pretty good state after I had the session, and I remember asking him the question, and he told me chances are pretty good if you look in the Origai constellation, because apparently I have a connection to a star in the Origai constellation for a future life or something like that, and it wasn't in that area exactly, but it was pretty close. And I just I just basically told myself I want to go see one of these, and I walked outside. I just looked up. I didn't even look for that constellation. It was after the fact that I realized it wasn't even in the constellation. He told me to look to increase the probability of seeing one. It was mostly just me feeling good, saying, hey, I want to go see one of these. Let's see if I can make it happen, and that's what happened.
It's so beautiful. It's so exciting to hear that. I know that that's a great inspiration for a lot of people who have tried to see these things, have tried to have, whether it's a CE5, a call-in communication, whether it's just how they consider it randomly, whatever the case is. I think it's so wonderful to know that actually is something that someone else can come in and explain. A lot of people, when they hear people like channelers or people who are in the spiritual community talk about these types of things, they don't know how to accept it or take it as well as they would just an average person who is doing it on their own time in their own way. And I think that's such a wonderful, wonderful experience, brother, and thank you, too, for sharing that with us.
Oh, no problem. I had a another experience in a dream if you'd like to hear it.
Oh, absolutely. Anything goes here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Well, this was after the first session I had with you and Treb, which was about a month ago. That night, I had a dream, and in the dream, I saw a blue star. I was next to these two people, and these two people were fighting with each other, and I was trying to get them to stop fighting with each other. I was saying, hey, look at that star. Stop fighting each other. The blue star is really bright. I've never seen a star like that. And in my dream, the blue star came down out from the sky, and it was a circle-shaped UFO, and it had 5 lights underneath it, and it landed right in front of me. Wow. And I remember Treb telling in my session I had a connection with the Cassiopean constellation, gray alien or some sort. Anyways, my dream, the ship had landed, and they had gotten out, and there's 10 gray-looking aliens with big black eyes. I was kind of freaked out a little bit in my dream, but I had noticed in my dream, as soon as I saw them get out, and as soon as I saw their faces, I just thought to myself, man, I would love to go on a ride in that UFO. And basically, I felt like he knew what I was thinking, because I don't remember him saying yes, I don't remember him talking, but I remember just knowing that it was like, sure, yeah, you can go for a ride, whatever. You want to go for a ride? And he stuck out his hand. I shook his hand. I was kind of nervous, but I remember telling myself, I know you guys are my family and you wouldn't hurt me. And so I went in UFO, and it was pitch black. I didn't see anything inside of it. And I was like, okay, I'm inside this UFO. I better open my eyes to get a good look. And when I had opened my eyes in the UFO, my dreams, that's when I had opened my eyes in real life, so I never got to see it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was kind of strange. I thought I was going to get to see the inside, and I actually had opened my eyes and woken up from the dream.
How long ago was this?
It was a month ago, the night after me and Rob and Treb's first session.
Wow.
Something else.
Yeah, that's called synchronicity, huh?
Yeah, it was, and when I had woken up, it was just such a peaceful feeling. I just felt so connected.
Beautiful.
That is an absolutely wonderful story, too, and there's so many, not just creations going on in that dream, but there's a lot of symbolism there, too. You're sitting there with the two people arguing, and intuitively, my higher self explains that to me as two portions of yourself arguing. Most likely that's the ego in your heart, and you're trying to let that go, and you're stepping in there to stop the fighting, because you know the fighting doesn't help you achieve your goals. And as soon as you express your love for this blue light, this bright star, then you're able to connect into yourself. If I remember correctly, Treb said that one of these beings, these Cassiopean beings, were one of the portions of your oversoul, and if that's correct, then that means that it's truly a part of you. And if that's the case, maybe that's the reason you can't see while you're in the ship, because there is no seeing inside the ship, because as you go into that experience, you're truly just going more into yourself. So when you wake your eyes, you're seeing yourself, you're seeing your reality, and that's being represented by that dream state. And the entities that you see are not just representations or symbologies, but they're actual entities who are co-creating this experience with you, and I think that's so wonderful. I mean, it touches my heart. When you said that, I was so excited to hear that, brother.
Right on. Like, I just felt so loved, and when you had said, when I had opened my eyes and didn't see anything inside the UFO, but had actually opened my eyes in real life, it just really struck me, man. It just kind of like peering into like a never-ending rabbit hole. You just keep on looking and looking and looking. There's always more, and It's wonderful.
Oh, that's a beautiful story. Thanks so much for sharing that.
No problem. I just thought it was worth sharing. I thought people would love to hear it.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Everyone I've told, actually, I don't remember if I've even told anybody about that dream yet. I think I've told one person, and she was pretty skeptic. I mean, she believed me, but I don't think she sees her dreams as real, as a reality as I do. I tried to explain that they're just as real as anything else.
Sure. And that's the problem. A lot of people separate dream state from reality, but they also separate these ET beings or extraterrestrials as they see them as parts of ourselves. They lack to see the oneness of things outside of the Earth. Even people who are very in touch with themselves and very in touch with nature still have a hard time of expressing one with the true universe, the physical universe. They just can't connect the dots, and that's pretty common for a lot of people. A lot of people are set with mindsets that way, but being able to share that experience with that person gave that person more of a vibration, and that sharing with them, that's the greatest gift you could have given to them.
That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate calling in and sharing your experience. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, just I've been having lots of dreams with, even last night I had a dream with a UFO. Except this time it didn't land. I was driving, or I wasn't driving, I was riding in a car with my family. And before the car ride, I remember just expressing, hey, why don't we all just be completely truthful to each other? And I kind of remembered telling them I would do anything for you guys because I love you so much. And we were going on this ride in this car, and I just remember seeing something swooping down. It was a silver-colored UFO in my dream, just swooping down right in front of the car and then headed back up into the sky.
That's a wonderful dream. That's wonderful. That's a wonderful dream. It's great to see the impact not only of your own conscious mind to the dream state, but your dream state to the conscious mind, but more so to your soul. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I appreciate you calling in and sharing that experience with all of us.
Yeah, it's been a great experience calling in. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, Taylor. I appreciate it, bud.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
Keep up the vibrations.
All right, bud. Have a good one. Thanks again, Taylor. Oh, all right. So, again, we appreciate all call-ins. We appreciate all conversations. Now, brother, I know that you personally have had many experiences with being able to see, placing your intent, doing things like that. But what about dream state? Is there anything of the dream state that's kind of moved you, even if it was one single dream or one single type of thing? Is there anything that you can connect to from the dream state from your own experiences?
You know, that's a great question. You know, no, I haven't. My dreams have been really, nothing that I can remember. Nothing really that stands out. The only thing is like Taylor, just within the past 2-3 months, just looking up and seeing UFOs. I saw 2 last night again. I didn't even mention that to you today, but
wow.
It's just being more frequent, and it seems like once you open that door into your consciousness, that like we talked about before, they've always been there. It's just they don't want to ruin our. They don't want to shock us or cause fear in our consciousness. So, like anything else, in free will, we have to, let them in to our consciousness. So yeah, they've been more frequent. And in listening to Taylor, I mean, there's no coincidence. I mean, him seeking you out for a a consultation with Treb, and then him having these UFO sightings. I mean, that's a lot of synchronicity there, big time.
Oh, absolutely, brother. And I think that's the one thing that a lot of people miss out on, the point that it's not about externally processing this connection to these entities. It's all about internally doing it, because
yes.
A lot of people miss that main factor of creating your own reality, building it from the ground up, moving from inside to the outside. And once that vibration on the inside comes together, it's a beautiful way to watch your manifesting come out. And that's exactly what you're doing. I didn't know that about the two last night. That's beautiful. I always love to hear when you see those. Fortunately, I'm able to see them too. I'm in a place that's kind of desolate, and I'm able to look up to the sky and see them frequently. But the more I've connected to Treb, the deeper I connect to myself, the more opportunities I have to see him. And it's got to the point now where I see him at least once, maybe twice a week. Sometimes it's questionable because at the height they're flying, the pattern they're flying, it could be a couple different things. I'm very aware of satellites. I'm very aware of high-flying jets, things like that. But there's always indicators to let you know. And most of the time, you don't even have to mentally process it. You know in your heart whether it is or not. That one that we had seen together was unmistakable, indistinguishable from.
Oh yeah, that was a great one. Yes, brother.
Oh, I enjoy that story, and I know you've told that several times, but every time I hear you say it to another person, it just excites me so much. That recollection of that. It was a magical evening, and everything just fell in place perfectly. The session that we had done with Treb that night, and then we go out to the stars, drive out in the country, look, and bam, they were right there for us. It was a wonderful, wonderful, almost a magical evening.
It was, brother, and that was actually my first time ever actually seeing one. I mean, putting the intention out. I know that you pointed it out, but we saw it together, and that was it was a very special moment, you know, and you know, after that I was always looking, but something within the past must have been between the past 6 months, or you know, maybe the different energies that are coming to Earth. I think we're all subconsciously, you know, we're all evolving into this new 5D frequency. So it's just a matter of time before people start really, you know, if they have the inclination to look and to actually want to see these, you'll see them. I mean, it's guaranteed. So maybe that's, you know, maybe all of it is working together in some mystical way.
Oh, absolutely, brother. That was a co-creation from the ground up. It was something that was extraordinary, not just an excitedness about seeing them, because we really didn't have such a deep intent to see them until the moment we walked out the door. It was kind of in the moment, and us being excited about being together and spending that wonderful day together with all the things that we had done and all the time we got to spend. That was our first chance to meet face-to-face, too, and
yeah.
It was just such a wonderful, I mean, that excitedness led us to other paths of excitedness, and that's more so and more so I see how Treb describes these things to all of us and how wonderful that it truly can be once we lock into ourselves. And I think the main difference from that time till now in both of us has been growth. I mean, that's been probably over a year ago, and every day we just we hear more of these channeled works. We put more of them in our life. We just listen to our hearts more and more, and we just keep digging deeper and deeper. And that's what I try to reiterate to everyone. As great as knowledge as you see certain channelers to be, maybe even me, George, we're all human and we're all growing, we're all evolving together, and that's why this show is so special to both of us. It is the labor of love from our heart because we want to be able to share our excitements with you in hopes that it will spring your excitement so you can share them with us and we can co-create excitedness. And that excitement in both of our co-creations always will lead us to more and more places in our life with new opportunities, new pathways, but also great experiences. And ever since we started doing the show, brother, I just, many experiences that I've had within my work state, within connecting to other people, has just been so great. I've got to have such great relationships with a lot of wonderful, wonderful people out there and been able to share my love as well as receive love from so many people. And just the stories alone is enough to excite you from all these things that you hear from people who've had these experiences.
Oh yes. I mean, it's. I mean, what does that tell us? That tells us that we are all one, and as we're evolving in this higher consciousness, we are having these experiences, and they're all beautiful in their own special way. But it really all comes down to the heart. We all are an aspect of the source, and we all have this light in us. It's just the filters that we are carrying, and with the help of the show, maybe we could have more listeners that would relay their stories to us, without judgment. There's no judgment here at all, and we always speak. I know you do, and I do. We speak from our heart for the love that we have for everyone, and it's so important to express this to our listeners and let them know that if they feel like calling, call and talk about their issues that they are having, and we'd be glad to help them in any way. And it's just a beautiful thing all the way around.
Absolutely, brother. And that's the one thing. I've talked to a few people who said, well, I wanted to call. I had this real big urge to call. I didn't. I was worried if people would think it's interesting. I would worry if people could relate, all these things. If there's an urge in you to communicate with us, whether it be on the show, off the show, in whatever way, that urge is there for a reason. It's the higher self pushing you there for a reason. And maybe it's not going to be something that you gain within the direct conversation from you calling in and talking, but maybe when you hang the phone and then start listening again, the things that we start talking about leading to a path of something that can be useful, it's all there for a reason. We have to learn sometimes, and this has been one of my huge lessons lately. In life, we have to try to find our greatest path, and sometimes we tolerate things that we shouldn't. Sometimes we go through things because they're comfortable. Sometimes we go through things because we believe that that's just what we should do, and we're not following our hearts or excitements as we should. And it's something that's really been deeply put into my own life for a reason, to experience the things that I need to experience from excitedness and from love, and not just because it's the things we think we should do or the things other people want us to do. And it's so important to really process that. And I process all these types of things every day. All of us process this. It's not something that you're going through alone. And that's the biggest thing I think really want to let people understand, is that you're not alone in your thought. You're not alone in your situation. Or even just sharing an experience can be such an uplifting or even a relief, a weight off your shoulder. And this is the greatest place to do as any. As George said, there's no judgments here, so feel free to connect to us, communicate with us in any way you feel is necessary for you or beneficial to you.
Yes, brother. Amen to that. I think we've both been experiencing in our private lives things that we're finding out. I mean, in doing the sessions with Treb, the higher self, in meaning that on a soul level, sometimes we're doing things and we don't understand how we might be affecting another person on a soul level. So it's very good to learn these things. It really says a lot about the expansion of our consciousness to be able to understand why things happen the way they do, the synchronicities that happen, the lessons that are needed, the soul lessons. And so that really it's just so amazing. I get so excited about talking about it because everything is so connected in so many different ways that it's not something that we're used to thinking about. It's more on a quantum level, something that we've never experienced, but that doesn't mean it's not true. So it's just a great forum to be able to talk about things, people's feelings, again, without judgment, to be able to discuss these things. Because, a caller might call in and they might talk about something that they think is insignificant. And there might be 10 listeners that are listening to that and say, oh, my God, that's exactly what I'm going through or I'm feeling. And so we should really understand how we're all kind of interwoven in a way through this grid system on Earth here. And we've talked many times about how whatever you or I or maybe the Treb sessions, the people that are talking are experiencing things. I mean, you could relate to them on a certain level because there's different fractals and aspects of their story, everybody's story that connects to all of us. So it's so beautiful.
It is beautiful, brother. And again, that's why we thank you guys too for connecting to us. And that leads me into some more areas too. Something that seems to be a very, very big thing with a lot of people lately. And I know we've covered the idea of self-love before, so I don't want to go too deeply into it. But reminding appreciation in all things is something that we sometimes don't practice enough day to day. But I think it's something we should really touch on. A lot of the times we go through our day, when we talk to people we love, when we connect to people who we're connected to, we often don't show them appreciation. We often don't show them appreciation. We often don't show them the amount of love that we do feel for them because we have things in our own life. Sometimes we get comfortable. Sometimes we just feel as if we don't have to say, I love you. But this is really wrapped around self-love. It's not an idea that you just are comfortable. It's not an idea that you can't express yourself. It's an idea of lack of feeling something within yourself. And I know a lot of people have called to me and talked to me about that recently. I've also had experiences with this very, very well in my own life. The idea is to be able to learn to appreciate yourself. And when you can't love yourself to a full degree, you can't express that love to anyone. And sometimes people in our lives go through with ideas that maybe we don't love them in the way that they should be loved. Maybe we don't love them in the way that we express in words, but sometimes don't show in action. But that all always has to do with self-love, self-appreciation. So there's a lot of techniques that we can do to kind of integrate this in our daily life. Meditation, an intention being set before, so saying something to the effect of, I'm only able to love you because I love myself, things like that. Little affirmations when we find ourselves frustrated in these ideas, reminding ourselves of this. Treb's been talking to a lot of people about visual indicators in your day life too, tying a string around your finger, marking one fingernail a different color as the rest, something where it can be in your face every day and it constantly reminds you to remind yourself of your greatness. Because it really doesn't. If you don't love yourself, you can never express that to other people. And when people are communicating to you that you're not showing them that amount of love, if you're not showing them that amount of connection, it is always because it's not coming from within. You're always not able to kind of accept yourself. What other areas about that, brother, do you want to expand on?
Well, that's right on target. I mean, self-love is the very first thing that we have to achieve to be able to, and I've experienced this recently in my life that in any relationship, if you don't love yourself, and if you're, let's say, in a relationship and that person doesn't love themselves because whatever reason that they're going through, it could be a chakra, it could be childhood issues, you won't be able to feel and be sensitive to anybody else's feelings. And so when you love yourself, you're really in touch with that side of yourself that has compassion and understanding for the other person. It makes you want to help more people, and I think we both have that, and that's really the precedence of this show is having the love for all that wants us to help and make people progress in a way where they can eventually love themselves and their life will magically change. I mean, it's so important to have that self-love, and Yeah, that was beautiful, brother. Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, thank you too, brother. I really, really appreciate your addition to that too, because you touch on a lot of good parts. And one of the parts that makes a lot of people not be able to kind of give themselves love too can be emotional imbalances, emotional impacts, and that has to do a lot with the chakras. So for now, because we don't have a caller on the scale, we'll go back to this idea for a minute. I think talking about the chakras and the systems and the way they affect people are really important too. And there's a reason why it hasn't got finished yet. Maybe it's because it doesn't need to be, or because something else is being played out. But as we have the time to touch on it, we will. So we all have an idea kind of about the solar plexus chakra. So we'll move up to the heart chakra real quick. Again, these colors don't have to be this way. A lot of people see colors in different ways. Some people see it in 3-layered colors, the way they turn. All these things are really irrelevant due to the basic fact that we're just trying to get knowledge out to those who don't understand chakras. So this is going to be as general and generic as we can, but still with enough information to help you move forward with it. The heart chakra is usually represented as green. And when you look at all the chakras, if you go up, you'll see the spectrum of the light. You'll see the spectrum of all visible light to the human eye. And that's the old, in school we were taught Roy, G, Biv, which is red, orange, yellow for Roy, and then G is green, and then Biv, B-I-V, blue, indigo, violet. And that's the way you tell. Like when you're looking up at the rainbow, that's the colors you see. And the heart lands right in the middle, so it's green. And this has to do with self-control, love, and balance. Love is the big part. It relates to self-love. It relates to the ability to love unconditionally. And when we have a balance in this, you're really, really easy able to see it in your life, just as we were talking about, and I think that's why it relates so well. When something is amiss, when something is not right in the heart chakra, it always manifests itself out in that localized area, as does the first, second, and third chakra, and it usually manifests in the heart itself. Sometimes it manifests in the upper lungs. Sometimes it manifests in the bones, rib cage, and in the back. A lot of people who have heart chakra issues usually manifest the illness on those parts. The very next chakra, now this is the throat chakra. This is represented by the color blue, and this is actually located right in the throat, right at the base of the throat, in the middle of the throat, really. And then this represents knowledge. It represents health. It represents decisiveness, but it also represents the ability to communicate. And this can be complex, too, sometimes when you're linking chakras together. But often the problem with most people in their throat chakra either has to do with knowledge or it has to do with the inability to express what's being in their heart. So it's very, very important to speak what's on your mind. As long as you're not placing judgment on people, as long as you're not projecting negativity, if it's not coming from the ego, then it's good. If it's coming from that ego or desensitized or separated self, then it's good. And that's what we want to relay. That throat chakra can often be affected. I've had problems with my throat chakra personally. And through channeling, it can be affected. Overusage of it, plus having blockages in it, can cause a lot of physical problems. I had a sore neck for a long time because of this, the back of the neck. It manifested outwardly. I was having problems communicating what was in my heart to people who I were real close to, because I knew their belief systems and I tried to respect their belief systems, and I didn't want to shatter their belief systems, but anything that I said to them wasn't being received well, and I didn't want to cause static or harm. But finally, what I realized is that if it's on your heart, it's okay to speak it. If it's coming from love, even if someone doesn't agree with it or doesn't see it well, you still have to express yourself. So that's a very important one. The third eye is the next one. That's the indigo color one. This is at the center of your forehead. Many people know this from people from India, Indians, the Hindus. They often have the jewel that's placed right where the third eye is. And this has to do with intuition, visualization, understanding of the higher realms, maybe spiritual understanding. And when this is out of whack, it manifests itself into your nasal passage. It manifests itself into your eyes, into the back of your head. It manifests anywhere on the upper head part. Sometimes the throat manifests in the back of the neck, in the front of the neck, in the coughing, in your trachea, esophagus, or your teeth sometimes in the bottom jaw. Any of those can be from the neck, but the third eye is always in the head. And, the lower head from your eyebrows on down to your back of your head, anywhere in there. And the last one is the crown chakra. And this one, before I finish the third eye, this also has to do with the combination of the heart chakra and the throat chakra.
Yes.
This has to do with the ability, like we were just talking about, from going from the heart to the voice. And if you have a problem with that, it can be very difficult. If you have a problem associating the love that you have for the wisdom that you have as well, because the throat, again, has to do with wisdom, that can be it too. A lot of people love to learn things, but when they learn things that they're not sure about or they're indecisive about, that can cause a chakra imbalance. If they hyper-focus on what's right, what's wrong, is this good, is this bad, and it's not coming from the heart, that can cause the blockage too. So that's very important to know. And the last one is the crown chakra. This is where most people see people of Jewish faith have their yarmulkes on. It's on the very, very back of your head, right on the crown of your head. A lot of people call it. What do they call it, brother? Right there on that spot.
The crown. The crown of the head is
Okay, so that is the correct term then.
Yeah. It's your crown of your head, sure.
Okay, and this basically has to do with overall enlightenment. This has to do with overall ability to be at ease with yourself in a spiritual level as well as a physical level. It's the combination of all of the others aligned perfectly. It also has a lot to do with creativity, inspiration of spiritual knowledge and spiritual awareness, and also has to do with communication to higher self. A lot of people have great third eyes but no crown chakra, so they can't astral project. They can't communicate with their higher portions of their self very easily. This part teaches us a ton about bringing in our guidance from the higher self, wisdom, inner strength. It helps purify thought processes. It helps feelings that we have, inspiration to the actions that we take. Literally, that's probably one of the most complex areas to talk about because it has so many different meanings. And I wanted to give the chakra lesson, and some of it was from, I believe, last week or the week before, brother, when we started on this one.
Yeah, it was the week before. Yeah, and also, let's talk about also, brother, the way the basis foundation for the chakra system, what it is to us, our energy bodies. Maybe we can talk about that a little bit to give a little bit more depth to why the chakras are there and what their purposes are.
Absolutely, brother. If there's anything you want to put out first, I can just add on to what you've got, unless you'd rather me go through and see what I can muster here.
Well, yes. Well, the energy these energy chakras of our human bodies in this bodysuit is basically our connection to the other side of the veil, our higher self and on a soul level. When we get intuition and dreams and things like that, it gets interpreted by the chakra system, and depending on where your specific issues are or maybe difficulties in this life, it's very easy to track. And the reason why it's so important to understand and learn about this energy system that we all have is because it's kind of a red flag for us to let us know to go within and to be able to decipher and bring to the surface any of these negative energies so we can let them go. So there's great importance to that, the chakra system, and we can talk for a long time on it, but maybe eventually we'll start to talk about it more and how it affects us on a different level in terms of our childhood issues, what we experience as children and then adolescence and then adulthood.
Absolutely.
And I think that it's hard to cover in just a few moments, but it is very important to be able to understand what these do, and it's so apropos to talk about the self-love, because when we don't have that self-love, that's what puts those the chakras out of alignment. I think the quickest way to fix the chakra system is to love yourself, because that's what we are. We are love, and it's who we really are. And everything other than that is really out of alignment with our true self.
Absolutely, brother, and I think you pegged it right on the head there. Self-love is the greatest way to get all the chakras in balance at once. More deeply, we do have a little bit of time, so we'll go into this a little more deeply, or unless we get a caller, then we might slow down on that. But I think that one of the things that I've been able to learn about chakra system is what they really are. As we know, our soul is sort of electromagnetic style of energy. It's not electromagnetism itself, but it's linked there. It's the closest thing that us as humans understand scientifically about it. So that's usually what Treb compares it to. And it's a system that sets us up to link from the non-physical to our physical self. It's kind of what keeps our body here in physical existence, and is still able to link us to the spiritual body,
yes,
or the essence of what we are. And energetically, each one of these areas represents these things that we've been talking about. Each chakra has a representation of style, of energy, kind of energy, production of energy, and each one has its own important part. But as a system together, it's what keeps us here in this matrix. It's what keeps us here in this physical dream state. Some people call it false reality. Well, it's a real reality. That's how you could tell, because you're here. So this kind of links us directly to the non-physical to physical. And the way that the energy gets brought through is different for all of us due to these either successes that we have during our emotional bodies or lack of success that we have with it. Each imbalance is represented by an emotional imbalance that has everything to do with emotions. A lot of people think chakras get messed up because of physicalness. If I have a poor diet, an unhealthy disease, that's why my chakras are getting messed up. But it's actually quite the opposite. I have this disease because my chakra is messed up,
yes,
and my chakra is messed up because I'm imbalanced emotionally. And it depends on what emotion you're talking about and what that emotion is attached to what chakra. You can have depression fit into every chakra in your whole body, but it's depending on what you're depressed about to what chakra it goes to. And this is something I talked to on a great spiritual blog called Inward Quest with a fellow who had wrote a question about this, so I answered and explained it to this. If you're depressed about the inability to express yourself verbally, then that goes to the throat chakra. If you're depressed about lack of love or ability to love unconditionally, or ability to love how you think is conventionally, which again is a perception, but we don't have to go deep. And basically that's coming from your heart chakra. All these chakras have a different thing aligned with them, and it can be any emotion felt with imbalances of any of them, but it's what that depression or what that upset or anxiety or anger is focused on to what chakra it links itself to.
Yes, that's true, brother. And the amazing thing, how all of these link together is that when these chakras are out of alignment, they affect us in a way to basically let us go within and fix them. And again, the spiritual community is very well aware of this type of information, but with with this ascension period and those of us that are awakening need to explain this more on a level where people can understand, because it really is quantum. I mean, we don't see these energy centers in us. We can't feel them, we can't see them, but they're there. So, I mean, just like everything else, just like the UFOs, they're out there. They're out there all the time, but our consciousness doesn't understand, doesn't see them. And this is what we need to do, is create these new belief systems where we can understand this type of subject and expand our consciousness more, so we can bring more of the soul into our human body.
Absolutely, brother, and it's a good point you brought up too. Most people go through life not seeing, not feeling any of these chakras. They take it for granted. They take it as perhaps a myth or something. But there are many people who are able to feel those chakras inside themselves. I'm able, when I do channeling, I have to feel the chakras. I have to feel them. I have to vibrate them at certain levels. So there's a way to perceive them. But just like those UFOs, they're in your reality, and until you tune in to what they are, where they are, and how they're supposed to feel, you'll never be able to perceive them. And that's the thing where the knowledge comes in. The knowledge is a part of the battle, not a huge portion of it. It's a good starting point to understand it, but the digging in part is where it's at. If you understand where your emotional imbalances is, and you understand that that's where your physical pains are, or your sicknesses or illnesses are coming from, this right here proves to you that these chakras exist. And then going about healing yourself emotionally, then you can start dipping into meditation states, trying to learn how to feel the energies in your body more directly. I know a lot of people are very aware of their body, and when they become ill, they're easily able to tell. When they sit down and consult a doctor, they're able to tell the doctor more about what's going on with them than the doctor usually can, because they're very aware of their body. And this is the awareness that you have to be able to begin to perceive the chakra systems in a way that will be beneficial to you. This can make you more aware of your imbalances emotionally than anything else can, because you'll feel that imbalance before you'll know it's there, because most of the time our minds aren't set to understanding our imbalances. And once we do, that's half the battle there. If we know it's there, then we know that it's possible to fix it. We know why it's coming to us. So sometimes this can be even an early indicator of emotional distress before we even understand it to be what it really is, or before we let it get out of control or severe blockages.
Yes, brother, and that leads me to this, to actually healing yourself, which we're able to do. I mean, again, it's on a quantum level, but, and again, this is a lot of information all at once, but we can briefly touch upon it, is that when you enlighten your consciousness to the point of getting your chakras in alignment, clearing them out from these old emotional issues that people carry around for their whole life, just like old excessive baggage. If those chakras are blocked up for a long enough time, they will cause a disease, and but it can be reversed. Anything can be reversed.
Absolutely, brother. If I can interrupt you for 1 second, we do have
Sure.
another caller that's online right now. So remember where you're at, and as soon as we take this call, we'll get back to it. 352 area code caller. Can you let us know who's with us this evening?
Hey, this is me.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. I figured it was you as soon as I seen the area code, but I didn't want to assume because I only knew the first three. How's your evening going?
I was studying, so I just kind of finished with my school assignment, so I just looked at the time. Oh, it's 10 o'clock, so I still have half an hour, so we can chat a little bit.
Well, that's
Is this Savita?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Savita. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, what did you want to chat
Okay.
about, Savita?
I think it's too late anyway, but the topic I wanted to discuss is, I'm kind of, thinking a lot about emotions nowadays,
Good.
So, yeah, because, everything in the life, actually, basically, it's all about the emotions, sometimes
It is.
too much of it, sometimes too less of it. And because of our emotion, we think, we judge, we take, that's what I think, we take next step. We make relations, we break relations, we have problems, emotions for others, emotion for ourselves. So, what do you think about when it is too much and when it is less? Where is the balance? And is it good to have emotions, or it is? Because I was listening to somebody, and they were saying that it's not good to have emotion. Like all these saints and all these people who reach to the high level on the spiritual path, they are kind of neutral. They are in better control of their emotions. So as we understand life, as we can see the broader pictures, do we lose emotions? So what do you think about all that?
Well, Savita, that's a great question. Thank you so much. Emotions to me are kind of a window to our soul in a way that it's bringing up to the surface of what we're feeling, and so it's another beautiful red flag that lets us know, why am I feeling this emotions? I think a lot of people don't, when an emotion comes up, they don't embrace it and actually look at it for what it is. Like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling this emotion? Why, it's like fear. Fear is another red flag of, why am I feeling this way? What inside me is making me fearful about anything? And so as we look into it, the self-realization to be able to hold that in your hand, whatever that emotion is, and to understand yourself and ask your soul, why am I feeling this? And you'll get the intuition that'll be brought to you in some way to help you dig deep and find that point in time where this is where it's coming from, how it's affecting you, and the origination of this particular belief system. But yes, emotions are there for, I think, to show us of what's currently going on in our reality, and feelings of like I said, things in your childhood, things in your adolescence that we've suppressed, that we are holding into our solar plexus chakra or our sacral chakra. Again, were you maybe manifesting a certain type of disease or discomfort? It's all emotional. Emotional is the solar plexus, so it's being stored there. And I think it's just it's a beautiful thing that when you can realize that I'm feeling this for a reason, opens the door to actually fixing it and getting to that goal of neutrality, which the higher self, the higher realms of source, obviously there's no polarity there. The polarity is here on Earth. So it's us being able to help ourselves and learning about ourselves internally.
Absolutely, brother. I agree with what you said exactly. And I think, too, as it goes, what's too much, what's too little, all of these questions, well, I don't think that there is a right answer. I think that ideally, if you wish to not suffer, if you wish to not have super excitedness, the neutrality is the way to go. But we're here on a polar experience for a reason. We're all human. We all have this range of emotions for a very specific reason. And to feel those emotions, as George said, is the indicator of what's going on with us. But the level that we feel this emotion, I think that's all individual for each one of us. To have high emotions, I don't think is a bad thing. A lot of people will disagree. They'll say the neutrality is the best way. And yes, it is the best way to go through with less amount of resistance, the less amount of problems. So sure, that's the way that the higher self based on, that's the way our oversoul is based on. But even if you look at the channeled beings that we connect to, even if you look at Treb, Bashar, whatever channeled entity, you could put any name in there and it'll still remain the same. They're all coming from as good as neutrality as they can, but they're also coming from a polarness of either positivity or negativity. If you look at Treb, if you ask most people, what is Treb, they'll say he's positive. And they see that positivity because of the love, because of the expressions of light that he gives. So that is, as neutral as it seems to us, it's still polar. It's still incomplete love. They even have two sets of ways to go in the higher densities. They've got the positive and the negative, or type 1, type 2. And this basically allows all physical entities and physical reality to experience one polarity or the other. For us, we have the grand experience to feel both sides of it, and this gives us a wild and crazy ride. But I don't think any of those are bad. I think it's only the way we perceive them. If you're feeling emotions very strongly, if it's one way or the other, if you either feel them too much or not enough, I think that's okay. I think we have to embrace those emotions so we can see where they're coming from, see what the faults are, but we also have to be able to forgive ourselves. We shouldn't have that judgment. Are we loving too much? Are we excited enough? Are we not excited? Or are we too excited? Are we loving too much? Because all of those judgments only causes more friction within us. So I think it's the idea of being natural in yourself. And if you know yourself, if you're being natural, if you're doing the things that feels good to you, whether the emotions are bad or not, whether they come and go, all of those are always indications of an imbalanced collective, and that's where we come from. We're coming from an imbalanced collective, so it's very natural to have these wild swings of emotions. I wouldn't say it's bad or good. I would say that if neutrality sounds good to you, then that's what to strive for. That's what to go for. I try to see as many things neutrally as I can, but I'm still human. Those things that I have huge belief systems in, I know till the day I die I might never be able to shake them. I try to assert myself, but there are certain triggers for every single person to have negative emotions. It's just like 5 years ago, if I would have had an issue come up, let's say about something very important to me, like with my son or something, if someone were to try to injure or insult my son, things like that, back then my range of emotion was way more. I could get very angry very quick. If I felt my son was being infringed upon, it could get really big really quick. But now there's still a reaction, but it's not nearly as big. So I'm going closer to neutrality, but it's my own choice, and I still have imbalance there. If I thought my son was being harmed or ridiculed or being looked at in a really negative light, that would still trigger that reaction. So it's very human of us to do so, I think.
Savita, what are your
what I think about emotions?
Yes.
Okay. Let me start. I was thinking about the emotion, then I started myself with each chakra, for me, I feel emotions are part of being human.
Yes.
So when you start with your Mool Root chakra, then who I am, so this is my emotion for myself that I am, see, you can see my throat chakra is so blocked. I cannot express myself very well. So,
oh, you're doing fine.
I'm sorry.
You're doing fine, Savita. Just relax and you're talking beautifully. Thank you.
Yeah. So when you start with your Mool Root chakra, then this is me, my existence. My existence is me, my emotions. Because I am. How can I exist without emotion? Then you go to the second chakra. Yeah, the second chakra, sacral chakra, where you create. Actually, you manifest life. Life create from the sex organs. From the sex. That's how we connect.
Yes.
So when we connect sexually, I being a woman or you being a man, this is my emotion. My emotion of being a woman. It takes a whole different path. As being a woman, I was reading about the ethics of care. That's what the women are. We are compassionate. We care. But men, they have different ethics. They abide more rules. They are more responsible. we can break rules because we have compassion, So this is my sacral chakra, which makes me woman, which that the emotional part is there. Then you go to your third chakra, which is your solar plexus. The emotions are embedded there. As you go up, that's what I feel. As you go up, these emotions become more and more and more. So this is your solar plexus. It's all about emotions. How you emotionally connect to people. How people, when they judge you, when they disrespect you, then those emotions get hurt. Here in the solar plexus, I see people. As being a nurse, I see people. They have panic attacks. They are so afraid. So this is too much of emotions because they are not able to control it. The emotions control them. So that's where it becomes imbalance. Then you go up. Then you reach your heart chakra where the compassion originates. The compassion, you emotionally connect. If you do not have emotion, you cannot have compassion. You cannot have compassion at all, because if you cannot understand, if you cannot feel others' pain, how are you going to have compassion, So
Absolutely.
That's where you connect. Yeah. That's where you connect, with your emotions. And then you reach to the throat chakra where you express your emotions. Sometimes, you see problem in the relationships that you are not able to express your emotion. That's where the problem starts. When I was growing up, my mom never used to express her love to me, so I grew up with that void feeling that, I'm not loved, So this is the place where you express your emotions. You express your root chakra that this is who I am, this is what I think, and I'm expressing myself to this world, and my emotions connect me to this world, And then you reach to the third eye. I get confused there in those third eye. Third eye is awareness, You are aware of your emotions that, hey, I'm going too much, or I'm insensitive to people's emotion. That's where you get awareness and understanding. And then when you reach the crown chakra, you are merged in God, because that's where everything becomes one. That's where the strong emotions of oneness comes. So for me, emotions are so important. It's part of being a human. That's what I think. But I see people, because that happens with me also. Too much of my emotions give me pain. I suffer. And then, I'm suffering, I'm crying, and then a part of me is looking at me and laughing at myself. Not laughing, just smiling, smiling at myself that, hey, see, you're having human experience. You are suffering because you're not able to control your emotions. Your emotions are controlling you. So there is somebody who's suffering, and there's somebody who's telling me that it's okay. It's okay to be human, Just you need to move on. You just need to don't get attached to it. Just let go. Just let go. And that's what I think. I'm sorry.
Oh, Savita, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Absolutely,
Savita, do you think that because you're familiar with the chakras, do you feel that the heart is actually like a filter from the chakras? Let's say from the first, second, and third. It's as you move up. Do you feel that the heart is like an actual filter, where by the time it gets to the throat, like you said, expressing yourself, where we actually can talk about these emotions to relieve ourselves of them? I know that crying helps, but what do you think of that idea?
I think, well, I'm not expert in chakras. I did not read much about it. Whatever I know about these chakras, I know it from somewhere. I don't know where, What I think about the heart chakra actually, that's where we connect, That's where basic emotions, the birds of emotions, it's
Yes.
like, it's kind of filtered, Heart chakra is, lower chakras are basically me, like I'm indulged into myself,
Yes.
And when you reach to the heart chakra, you kind of expand, you connect to others. That's where the connection starts from your solar plexus, but the solar plexus, you can be just, type 2, that's what the Treb say, type 2, that you just
Yes.
care for the people who love you, but you can kill others because you are not related to them, you can blast a bomb anywhere because you just care about your people. But when you reach the heart chakra, it's kind of expansion. It's expansion because you can feel the pain of those people who killed who you killed. So for me, heart is expansion. It's expansion and it's oneness. And as you go up, you express, and with your crown chakra, you are one with the divine, and the divine is positive and negative both. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yes.
It does not
Yes.
it does not differentiate. It is the crown chakra is like a mother who loves the good child and bad child both. She just does not judge it. But heart chakra is, I think it's more positive. It's more connection. It's more expansion. You know what I mean?
I think too,
like crown
the heart chakra.
Yeah.
Oh,
crown
go ahead,
chakra.
Sabina.
Yeah, crown chakra and base chakra, the root chakra, are totally opposites. Root chakra says I am. It's kind of ego talking. But crown chakra says that we are one. It's no negative, no positive there.
Absolutely.
So you remember that ego and superego. So that's what I think, that your base chakra, mool root chakra, is your id, which is me, and your heart chakra is the middleman, which is mean, which is not mean in the sense that the balance, and your crown chakra is superego. Superego, like there's, it's virtues there. It's the other end,
It's
no negative,
neutral,
positive there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's neutral.
So the energy, I think energy exchange in the sense, like, you see the figure of 8, the middle part
Yes.
of the 8 is heart chakra, where you kind of assimilate, where you think. And medically also, medically it's proven that heart has so much of nerve endings, Before that, they didn't know that, but now they are kind of, scientists are saying there's so much of nerves there, So it's kind of proving towards the heart chakra existence,
Yes, and the heart chakra, I think too, is the base. It's the birthplace of empathy and sympathy. It's the birthplace of expansion out to other people, and I agree with that too. Also, an interesting fact scientifically about the heart is that many people thought that the electrical system in the body was always a function of the brain, but it's found out that the brain takes its electrical functioning cues from the heart. So the heart truly is the center, even of the brain. It is actually the center system that keeps everything running.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nerve endings, the nerve endings are impulses of that energy, So Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking a lot about the emotions nowadays, and I just see people and watch people, and I watch animals. It's kind of, kept coming to me. Probably I'm kind of in a process of learning of balance because I'm that kind of person, like I just go extreme, if I mean, too much of emotions, it hurts me, and I find myself that, it's, or too little of emotions. So I'm kind of finding my balance, I think. Maybe that's why I'm kind of thinking a lot about the emotions and all.
Well, I have a question for you, Savita. If you look at yourself compared to yourself 5 years ago, how much different are the emotions on certain things in your life when you felt your emotions 5 years ago compared to now? Do you feel them as much? Do you feel them more? Or do you feel them less?
I feel they are more, in the sense, 5 years, I'm listening to Treb, I think, from more than 3 years, I think, almost,
Yeah, 3 years.
Yes, 3 years. So Treb coming into my life, I learned basically, the basic thing, which I learned from Treb is being non-judgmental. So when it's like when I started looking at people in that way, which being non-judgmental gave me compassion, So now, definitely, because 6-7 years ago when I used to watch movie, I never used to cry. Now I sit and cry. That's why I start watching movies. Well, I am not a TV person anyway, but yeah, that's the change because I can feel their pain now. I started thinking more from heart. When I started, I try not to judge people. I try to put myself in their shoes, and that gave me more connection, more love towards them and towards me, myself. That gave me more compassion. I can understand their pain, and when I understand their pain, definitely it's more emotion. I kind of, melting away, like I'm kind of softening. Maybe that has something to do with aging also, as I'm aging, I'm 42 now, so maybe that's why, probably. I don't know. I was hearing about the chakra thing yesterday, and they were saying that every 7 years, one chakra has a 7 year of life. First 7 years you are the first chakra, and then next 7 years the second chakra. So crown chakra goes when people turn 42, like after 42, 43, then they go in their crown chakra. I don't know.
I think that could be a good rule of thumb. Maybe I think that has a lot to do with the difference of each person. And the reason I asked you that question is because I've noticed, let's say, the last 5 years of my life, the way that my emotions run differently is now I'm able to experience positive emotions, those blue flags, in a much richer and higher and expansive state. But the ones that are the red flags, the negative emotions, I'm able to feel them a lot less. For instance, when someone passes away, my understanding of afterlife, my understanding of not really dying, this helps allow me to not suffer like I used to when someone would pass away. Some people look at that as a bad thing because you're less emotional, you're less upset, and they think that you should be upset with those things. But I've noticed all of these negative emotions dissipating while the positive ones become extremely more intense.
No, I think about, when somebody passes away, my profession gives me chance, to be with people when they passes away, their loved one passes away, or they get diagnosed with fatal diseases, like those things. So I totally understand. That's what heart comes, that's what I think. That the crown chakra says that it. That's your third eye, and that's your crown chakra says that, it's not the end, But when you have heart chakra, that's what I'm saying. I started thinking, thinking from the heart now. So, but heart knows what other people are going through. So, when people cry, then I say it's okay to cry because we are human. Heart hurts. So when heart hurts, it's okay to cry, It's okay to be human, but the bigger picture is that they have not gone anywhere. But as because we are human, we have to experience those emotions. We embrace them. We don't judge them. I know these things are easy to say, but like last time I said that these things are easy to say. The bookish knowledge and practical knowledge are kind of different. I'm learning. I mean, those kind of a few days, a few weeks are going. I mean, I'm kind of learning more, opening more towards my own emotions. It's a beautiful thing,
It is a beautiful thing.
Yes, I mean, it's not that I don't understand, but it's like I understand. I started kind of assimilating, absorbing those things now. I mean, today my daughter said, "Mom, you are so complicated," And I say, "How?" I know, and she goes, I say, "How do you know?" Mom, the way you write, that shows that you're so complicated. So I kind of thinking, oh, I'm complicated. What makes me complicated, Because I complicate my emotions simply, so just keep it simple, just, kind of thing. So that's another thing to learn, to kind of be aware of that, that how you are, what you are. And heart is becoming, I'm kind of experiencing more my heart nowadays.
That's a beautiful thing, too, Savita. And I appreciate you, too, calling to share that with us and to go through those chakra things. Our time on the show is getting a little shorter, Savita, so I wanted to tell you that we thank you again for your call-in and that we love you very dearly. And every time you call in is a wonderful blessing for us to be able to share the experience that you share with us. And me and George both have talked off-air many times about how great you are and how appreciative we are of your connection with us.
Yes.
Oh,
thank you so much, Savita. You're a love.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Have a good
grateful.
evening, Savita.
You too. Thank you. Thank you
hey,
for
we
having
love
me.
you. Oh, thank you for coming. We love you.
I love
Good night.
you too. Bye-bye.
Bye, Savita.
All right. We're getting close to the end of the show, brother. Is there anything you wanted to say to kind of wrap up the evening in any way you see appropriate?
Well, Savita really brought up a lot of beautiful things there. And, I mean, the reason there's no accident that she's feeling these emotions now. I think it's the awareness that we are all feeling on some level, that some of us more than others, some of us on a subconscious level, and I think that's what's really rocking the boat now. With a lot of people are going through the highs and lows in life. They're emotional. They don't know what to do. They're feeling anxieties, and I think it's a very good point that we talk about things like this to help people express themselves, because we could all understand Savita's point, and it was very beautifully said. And the more we get to do this with the collective, with our audience, and express ourselves in a way where the judgment is no longer valid, it doesn't exist anymore, and that's the beautiful thing about being able to do something like this. And I know we both get a great feeling of joy to be able to discuss these subjects, because it's something that the world hasn't talked about for a long time, at least in our existence. So I think it's wonderful. Thank you so much, brother.
Well, thank you so much, brother. And once again, and I know we've reiterated, we probably took almost 5 or 10 minutes during mid-show between callers to explain to you guys how much we appreciate you guys and how much we are grateful for interactive with any of you guys who wish to call and express yourself. But I had to reiterate that idea. Also, this is a show we do every week. March 1st. I always say March, and I'm sorry about that. Let's try September 1st. That's going to be on a Sunday. We are doing a live open forum. This will be your chance to call in and chat with Treb, ask him any question you want. Mind you, if you have personal questions, this is acceptable, but there will be time between. If Treb's not connected to you, he has to have your permission to connect, all these things. So the more general questions, the better. But if you have personal questions, that's fine. If they're personal, then we'll try to limit them to one apiece. But please call in. We'll get that link set up. Go to the Facebook page, the Rob and George Enlightenment Evolution Hour, and let us know anything that you guys want to know. The links for the Open Forum show will be set there. Again, I want to reiterate my love for you, brother, and all the efforts you put in to co-create this, not just with me, but with everybody, and all the time that you spend doing. I don't think a lot of people realize how much time is put into this, not just on the show, not just setting up the show, because literally we have no preparation time. We jump on air and we talk about what's on our head. We don't plan. We don't discuss. We might discuss daily between ourselves the things that are important for us, but that's only carrying over. And I think that's a big thing to notice, how much time is spent listening to these channel messages, listening to our hearts, listening to the things in our life that resonate with us most. And thank you again, brother, for that. And thank you all for listening. We appreciate it so much. This is a free show. We enjoy giving this out for free, but it also costs us to run the thing. So if you do care to donate, we've averaged 1,200 listeners a week. If each person puts in 3 to 5 cents a piece, this will pay for the monthly fees that cost. If not, again, that's fine too. Me and George are more than happy to take care of that, just so that we can connect you guys and share our love with you, share our ideas with you. Anything to add before we go, brother?
Well, I just wanted to reiterate what you said, brother. The joy in doing the show is a love for me, you, and I just encourage the listeners that if there's anything that they'd love to discuss, it helps us as well. I always learn from these. I know that you do, brother.
Yeah.
And it's just an expansion, and it lets us know that the collective is moving in the right direction. But it really amplifies, that all of this knowledge that we get to put out, and the beautiful people that call in with their wonderful experience. So, listeners, from the bottom of my heart, and thank you, and I look forward to meeting with you all next week again as well.
Absolutely, and we're here every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That's Eastern Standard Time, the United States of America, 9 p.m. every Wednesday. Rain, shine, whatever it is, we will be here, and that's a guarantee. To call us, it's area code 347-308-8788 in the United States of Canada. And if you log into Blog Talk Radio, set yourself up an account, which is very easy to do. Email a couple pieces of information. You can set an account, and you can call through Skype. I believe me, you guys will get a much easier time calling in than we do getting on sometimes ourselves. So we love you guys so much, and thank you guys so much for your support and love. And once again, this is the Rob and George Enlightenment Evolution Hour. This is Rob.
And this is George.
And we love you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.